second going. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Lancescurv. It's a wonderful day today. The weather's beautiful. Everything is working so smooth. And it's one of those days where you say, hey, things are going so smooth. What's about to happen? I just want to hear from anyone who comes in the chat room to let me know how the sound is. I'm outside right now, so we're relaxing and we're chilling out. And I just wanted to speak on some things. Thank you so much, Christopher. Thank you so much. Tampa, Florida in the house. NFN Shaka. Yes. Dominican Republic. Whoa, we getting up international up in here. I'm in Africa. We got Tampa, Dominican Republic. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, and there's big dragonflies flying around. You know, I used to have a fear of these things, but I know they don't bite you. I know they're your friends because they get the mosquitoes that have malaria in them, right? But yeah, this is going to be pretty loose, laid back, but I wanted to chat with everyone about social media. We all know it. I'm not going to preach to the choir, but there's a couple of things I learned, and really and truly, when we speak of cocaine addiction, when we speak of heroin addiction, Denver, Colorado in the house. Everybody give a shout out to your hometown, high school, where you grew up, where you are now. You know, you're right. You're right, Shaka. Social media is the worst thing created, especially for the melanated family. It's nothing but a cesspool for gossip. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. You know, we can use it somewhat with like-minded people in a good way to get messages through and to speak, but it's hard. It's really tough. Because by the wayside, there's always a temptation of the filth that they put out there that's very stimulating. Dallas, Texas in the house, Kenny Spears. Yeah, you know, it's very tempting because if you get caught with your guard down one time, that's it. And see, cocaine, heroin, marijuana, whatever they want to say, they have studies on these things and they can tell you the bad effects. And many people would say, well, I smoke weed all the time. And listen, I know it's been proven to cure certain things. What is it? It affects those who have glaucoma in a positive way. And there's a whole lot of other things that it seems to affect. And I'm speaking about marijuana, right? But at the end of the day, will it still be affected, those illnesses, in a good way if you baked it and put it in cookies or you made a drink out of it? Because my thing, I have a problem with smoke. I have a problem with smoke. Your brain needs oxygen and it cannot be compromised with smoke. There's got to be a way of delivering what good is in marijuana. I'm not knocking it and saying it's bad. And this is not the marijuana show, but since I put my foot in it, let me just say this. I am kind of pissed off that there's so many brothers and sisters locked up for the sale of marijuana in America. And now they made it a so-called legitimate business. And these rich white others are coming in en masse. And don't tell me, oh, well, Mike Tyson, yes, but that's one person who has the money to do so, right? Look how many other people have moved in on it and laws have been changed. And so many others before were selling it. And yeah, they might have been on the street corner selling it, whichever way, but it was targeted for us. And now all of a sudden, it's a booming enterprise. That's so wrong. And some of those brothers with their trumped up charges, they're still locked up. And these other, let me just say what it is. These white businessmen come out and there's something wrong with that. And these white, and it's businessmen, let's just say, it might be an Indian there, but I'm just saying those who have favor in the society. Mike Tyson is a celebrity now. He's not just a fighter. More power to him. I love him. But, you know, there's some kind of things to show that he's been kind of compromised. Because why would you, you know, that's another, I don't want to rant off on that. I want to speak about, yes, back in the day. Yes, it is. Yes. I haven't heard word from him at all. That's why I did this live. I haven't gotten any word. I know he's really busy, but I haven't heard any word. That's why I'm doing this, because we're supposed to start at 1 p.m. my time, 9 p.m. his time. So I checked my email, I checked my phone, and I've got nothing. So I said, well, let me just sit here and do this, and then I can go on right after, if anything else. But I haven't heard any word. Like I said, I know he's extremely busy. Or maybe he wants to push it back a little more. I don't know, but I'm here. I'm just going to talk for a little while, and then, you know, we can move on with that, because I was really looking forward to that. You know, but that being said, you know, there's studies on all the effects, all the ill effects of these drugs on the brain, you know? And, okay, I didn't create a link yet because I was waiting for the information to be able to put everything up properly with the information and everything. So I didn't get anything, and I didn't want to ad lib or, you know, because I know he had guests coming in, the mayor and all of this stuff. So, you know, since I'm on the live now, if you can contact them, I'd be glad to accommodate that. But I haven't heard anything. And I woke up kind of late thinking I was going to see something. I didn't see anything at all. Right. So get that to me on my WhatsApp or Lancescurv.com, and I'll chop it up. We'll get it going, you know. But, you know, we well know the negative effects of certain things. Right. And I just don't think that the brain should be that wants to use it. I'm just saying that one point, because we all know that things in nature, they all take care of something naturally. And I know that the marijuana leaf and plant, all plants, right, they all have a purpose, even when we don't know it, right? What you say, Chris, I don't smoke all the time. I actually stopped, but I kind of want to start back because where I live is stressing me out. And if it does have that effect, you know, for you, by all means, but my thing is to smoke. My thing is depriving your brain of oxygen. And it's a compromise. It is, we don't know all that we're supposed to know, but with that, it's still up in the air. And maybe there's a way that we can get it in your system without, you know, depriving your brain of oxygen. That's my main thing. But I don't hate on anybody who does anything, you know, with nature. It's just the smoke thing. That's what gets me, you know. And everything in nature has a benefit, everything. But we know that there's some things that are not natural that affect our brain the same way. And while we can go back for decades on studies of cocaine and heroin and LSD, and now they have methamphetamine, they have all of these different drugs that are taken from something natural, but it's extremely altered, and it doesn't have any good effects. There's a new strain of marijuana that I'm hearing now. I think it's what, MS-13, the Mexican gang that has control over a lot of this, and it's called Tiburon. It's called Tiburon. And there are synthetic things laced in there, straight up. I watched this program while I was doing some editing, so my attention was a little split. And I don't like to repeat things if I don't have it in front of me or have it jotted down. But in general, this is what I'm saying. So I might be wrong on certain points, but they add these synthetic chemicals, right, to the marijuana, and they have a process in which which it goes through, and they say that it's more addictive than cocaine. This type of marijuana processed, and it's called Tiburon. Maybe you can Google it and get more information on it. And if, I'll probably do a little show on it and talk to different people that I know who are in the business. That's all I'll say. They're very knowledgeable in these things. Yes, chemically altered weed that is more addictive than cocaine and street gang. Yeah, see? Old Scurv's brain held it on pretty good. Thank you, Head Knot and Sons, of welcome in. And this is not going to be a super long one because I was supposed to do another show today, but I didn't get any information on that. So anyway, why am I saying all this about drugs? And now, before that, they got drugs out now. I mean, I don't know if it's slang names for these drugs, but they're names of drugs now that I don't even know what it is. And for those who may smoke some marijuana, be careful what's being sold to you. Because wouldn't the person who, yes, they're putting fentanyl into it and these other things with this Tiburon, I mean, they want you to come back and buy. The sale of marijuana to me now is like crack now, meaning that when the crack dealer first comes into the neighborhood and he's new and he had to snuff a few guys to take over some territory and he's set where his positioning is, he has to put a little more cocaine in that crack to make it stronger. So all the crackheads out there say, man, there's some good stuff. This is a new guy, but he got this is some good stuff. Then they start to go to that person and slowly but surely, they put it in less and less of the cocaine in there, right? So we don't know what we're subjecting our brains to. This is not a lecture on drugs, but there's this drug that is the equivalent of the crack pipe. There's this drug that's equivalent of a cocaine addiction. And to me, it affects us even deeper because there is no crack pipe in our hand. There is no line to sniff. There's no needle to inject in our arms, right? It's social media. And we were given this thing, and it would seem like the best thing. It altered our lives. It made us feel good. We also researched, right? We also researched and saw at times that there was not enough time to research. I mean, how long has social media been around? They research a little bit, but they're not going to really tell you the effects of it. Because when they created this thing, when they created social media platforms, and back in the day, way back, they never really called it social media. It was the internet. Back in the 90s, when you had message boards and you had websites, but it was different then. You didn't have the instant gratification that came with that dopamine hit. Now we have lightning speed internet, right? Lightning speed. We can click a button and be anywhere we want, right? We're so connected with everybody else. We don't even use telephones like we used to anymore. Telephones, payphones, we got smartphones, right? And back in the day, I remember, I never messed with the internet, like really back in the 90s. It was toward the end of the 90s. I think it was like around 98, 99. They had this thing called web TV. Because I thought with the internet, you had to have all this knowledge of the computers and all this stuff. And I don't want to be bothered. And the bottom line is that, I wasn't into it that way. So they had web TV where you could surf the internet on a limited level. You couldn't really download things. It wasn't a copy of a computer that had internet access, but we had dial-up, right? I missed the landline phones too, the most secure. I mean, they can be tapped and everything because it's a physical landline, but don't think because things are digital and they tell you that, well, with this service is digital and no, if the government wants to do something, they can do something. They have an antidote for everything that you're going to target you and what you make on your computer. So don't think I'm not going to say they're watching everybody, but if you're a person of interest, they got you. And we have a false sense of security, Exactly. Social media can be just as addictive as drugs, gambling, and alcohol. I've always been a deep thinker. I've always been a fast thinker. I've always been one whose mind was always racing, not racing uncontrollably, but always monitoring what's around me. I always had a clean burning mind, like clean burning fuel. It's always been burning clean. See? And yeah, thank you so much. I'll check that out as soon as I'm finished. I'm going to talk a little while longer. Um, but I sensibly get right on into it. But like I said, yeah, I noticed that though. I noticed that with many people, Shaka, it actually took away our ability to remember certain things, like phone numbers. Back in the day, you could remember, you just name a friend, I knew their phone number. And just like when I noticed with Alzheimer's, and my father had Alzheimer's as well as like diabetes really bad, and that's what took him out of here. But with Alzheimer's, you can remember stuff from way back early on in your life, right? But the recent stuff you just don't remember. So this is why a lot of people, and I've experienced this personally with my father, as he got worse, as the condition of Alzheimer's got worse, he got more, not focused, but he had a great sense of memory. But the present stuff, you know, you feed him the breakfast now, and it's like, he'll come back, oh, I'm a little hungry. I didn't have breakfast. You know what I mean? But with social media, it's sucking out something out of us because we're not remembering things too easy. It's really a challenge to remember most stuff. I'm not saying I'm at that point, but I notice sometimes that I have a few more brain farts than necessary. And it's not a natural thing for me. My mind is very powerful, very strong, very focused. And even if it was reduced to 60% of what it is, it would still be, and I'm not bragging or saying anything, but it's popping more than most because I keep the substances out of my body, the bad food and stuff like that. Occasionally I have a little treat or something like that, but you know, and living out here in the motherland is just tranquil and peaceful. And they got issues over here now, but you can kind of get away and be away from that whole, like even right now, maybe it's in my head because people say, well, there's country out there and it's peaceful out there. But I just say on a self-diagnosed level of a PTSD that most of us have growing up in America with the things we've had to go through. We don't even have to ask. We pretty much, we're touched, traumatized. And so for me to be away from that whole situation and being reminded by the things I see and the tensions that I feel, with this being such a different dynamic, man, it's such a weight off my shoulder. And I love it. And it's very therapeutic for me. And it has extended my life from that alone, right? But now we get back to social media. And when we look at the children, we look at our kids, and it's become the ultimate pacifier. And we get our phones for them and give it to them, and they sit down quiet, but then they surf the internet freely. What is it doing to their minds? You know, what happened to the crayons and the construction paper and, you know, just talking to children playing, and now they're in the house stuck on a phone. And what is it feeding into their mind? Now, remember, I forgot the exact age groups, but I'll say from the time of birth up until 5 or 6 years old. Maybe it's 8 years old, whatever. But those early years, I'll say this, those early years, we absorb more than what we realize, right? While we may learn certain things at the advancing years of the teenage years and the early 20s, and they say the brain doesn't fully develop until 25. Well, if that's the case, then why shouldn't the age of being considered an adult be the age of 25, right? Because if we're walking around being considered adults, yet our brain's not fully developed, that's a recipe for disaster. But no, money. People want money, alcohol, going out partying with your underdeveloped brains. That's a bad thing, but it makes money for a lot of people. And for insurance companies, when you drive out drunk and crash up. So you got to look past all of that. But we absorb so much when we're younger, and even coming into our teen years. But I believe that slows down when the mold of our mind settles like concrete. You have a concrete mold and it's wet and you don't step in it, right? But our molds are wet up until 25 years old. And social media and all this stimulation it's stepping in our subconscious mind. You know what I mean? It's just too much. And what is that doing to us long term, right? It's affecting our ability to retain. They're pushing these YouTube shorts, and they have them on other platforms, Instagram. I think they came out with it first. The little 1-minute clips of video. And you have to get all the information that you have to get into it to prove your point, whether it's verbal, music, visuals, or a combination of all of those. And it's a quick shot, something to the brain. So when you have these YouTube shorts, and it could be other platforms too, right? When you have these things hitting your brain, who wants to sit down and pick up a book and turn a page and read and use your imagination to put together the visuals in your mind? Who wants to do that, right? Nobody wants to do that anymore. Back in the day, says Clarissa, it's the culture here. It's susceptible to be rude and mean, and it's also the food. It's low quality and low vibrational and contributes to negative effects on the body. You're right, back in the day, 43. And it's multifaceted, the attack on us, when you really look at it. And people say, this guy's talking paranoid. It's okay. It's not going to do anything. Let me tell you something. Do you see really the world? Look, just in the last 20 years, let's just say I use 911 as a marker. The World Trade Center, 911. They said Bin Laden did it, but we know it's an inside job. Anyway, I use that as a marker. Pre-911 and after 911, right? And why do I use that? Well, that was there to affect us in so many ways, to really shock us, to have something really bad happen. It wasn't just an attack on the World Trade Center and the financial district and stuff like that. That was for the world, to scare us. Everybody went into the church the day after, right? Everybody filled the churches because they thought that was the way. And what happened? It was back to business as usual after everything subsided from the fear-mongering that happened after that. But it was very much a real thing. And after that, we had cell phones. But shortly after that, we had smartphones. And of course, we had new social media platforms that were created. YouTube came around in 1985. Facebook, I think it was 2004. I'm not sure. But I've been around before all of them. And then subsequently LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter came around. And we could say what we want. We were free to talk, but also we were monitored. They had to know who was who and what your ideology was, right? And that was they gave this to us, but it was like feeding a turkey, fattening the turkey up for the kill. You're sitting there, turkey running around in the yard saying, oh, yes, they feed me so good, and I got the grass out here, and I got the feed. Man, I couldn't have, I'm so blessed. I'm living in such a good place. I'm fed so good. Not knowing that you're going to die the day before Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So they fed us social media, the internet, and they married it with the smartphone. I've said this on many shows before. How many of us can remember the day when we said, I got to get home quick. I'm expecting an email. I got to check my email. You might be over a friend's house and you might have to go for a drive somewhere for the next 5 hours. Well, before I go, can I check my email? Those days are over. Those days are over. Because now we have the smartphone. So now during our commute, we can just look down on our phone. We even love commute time if we have to take public transportation, the buses or the trains or some type of vehicle, right? Even those who are driving, they drive and they love the red light. Oh, I got to read. Okay, let me finish reading this article. Or you can talk to somebody. We're detached from the real world and we're sucked into the cyber world, which is a manifestation and an extension of the real world when you see what's going on in the world. But they feed you what they want you to be fed. So we're controlled, yet we think we have freedom. But this thing that was given to us, it was such a thing, the marriage of social media and the smartphone, so we can go anywhere. No more were we bored. The boring parts of our day were opportunities for us to pull out a smartphone, right? And we were in a long line at Walmart or Target. We'd suck our teeth. Man, it's a damn long line. No. Now the line is long. Whip out your phone. You even get mad sometimes when the line in the supermarket is moving fast. Man, I gotta finish this music video. I'm texting this girl. I'm texting this man. The line is moving fast. Now, you might not consciously say that, but you get annoyed at that. Sometimes you want that supermarket checkout line to last a little longer. You see how this thing is changing our world, right? And now, instantaneously, we can send messages without fear all night long, right? All night long. We can send a message to somebody 3 o'clock in the morning, and their phone is going to be dinging, 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 making noises anyway. They might turn it down, but if you know that they don't, you don't feel bothered, because when they get up to pee in the middle of the night, they check it and say, oh man, I got to get back to you. And they'll call you. So our whole day now is changed. The poor postal service can't be making that much money. Is that the way they used to? They got to compete with FedEx and UPS now, because it's mainly packages they have to deliver. You can't deliver a package through a text message. So some things will never change, right? But they had to take a huge hit in revenue because of what's happening now. Calling card services. Remember those back in the day when you had to use a calling card to make a long distance call if you chose? Because you can call straight through your phone, but you better do it after midnight, and you better keep everything under 10 minutes. I mean, we were talking fast. You have to write things down. Yeah, I want to tell you this, that. But you knew when you got the call back in the day, 3 o'clock in the morning, on that big black phone that had no extensions. It was a rotary, and the handpiece was so hard it was considered a weapon, because if you got cracked over the head with that, it was like getting hit with a hammer. 3 o'clock in the morning, you knew it was something bad, right? Now, you know, this has helped to fuel infidelities. It's helped to fuel cheating and extramarital affairs. You got people who are laying in the bed next to their significant other, texting the hottest expressions, what they want to do to that person, while they're rubbing feet with their mate. Ain't that crazy? So how many babies now more were created, right? Babies that probably wouldn't have been born if it wasn't for the usage of the smartphone and social media. People that you meet, people who are like-minded. You can get to the point quick, and you know what I mean. You can get on social media in the morning time, talk the right talk, and be intimate with someone, and not true intimacy, but just sex. It's happening, y'all. The gay community, they want to have the same respect that traditional situations had. They can never have that. That thing is driven by lust. I don't care what you say. And I'm not even saying lust like maybe you or me might think. It's a twisted lust. They got these apps where gay dudes can hook up, and they just say a few words. I'm a top, yeah, I'm a bottom. How are you? Well hung, yeah. And they got their own lingo that I don't even know. Now they're meeting up somewhere in parks and doing their thing. They had a problem in Atlanta a little while ago, and it's been going on, where they have these meetups, gay meetups, and dudes out there looking all creepy, looking all weird, and they start banging each other out there right up against a tree. It's crazy. And anything wicked and anything decadent has been accelerated by social media. But see, it makes you feel. You get the dopamine hit when you see that there was a comment on one of your comments. You go on Facebook and everything is like a sky blue and a little darker blue with sky blue, just tranquil. They chose those colors. Everything about social media is engineered. But when you receive, if you make a comment or reply on somebody's comment on social media and you look and you see that little red dot, most people, they won't admit it. But it's like somebody lunging across the floor, leaping across the floor to get $1,000 that they see down there. They got to click that thing fast because it's a personal interest in this thing. They're talking about something I said. And this is how these long Facebook threads happen. And on other social media platforms too, where one person disagrees with the other and they're fighting all day long, back and forth, sucking the life out of your day. You got stuff to do in your house and you can't even do it because you're so caught up, and it slows you down. We panic when we leave out the house and forget our phones. Most of us, if we can make love to our phones, we do it because every night, most of the time, we sleep with our phones. The phone is right there. And you get up to go to pee in the middle of the night. You didn't even think about using the phone, but you feel around for it to make sure it's still there. And when you holding your pee, looking for the phone that went up under the pillow, it's there somewhere. Look at how it's affecting us, you know? And we have this new thing. I'm not going to say it's new. Maybe it's been out a while. It's a term. It's called fear of missing out. FOMO. FOMO. You'll hear it if you haven't heard it before. Anybody else hear it here? FOMO. Fear of missing out. And what that is that we go through our day and we feel that everything else is going on beyond us, and we're not living this wonderful, pristine life, and everybody else is living this wonderful, pristine life with no problems, no challenges whatsoever. And we feel that we're missing out because we feel that our lives are nothing. I'm not saying that about anybody here. I'm not saying it about me. I'm touch and go on social media. I multitask. I'm sitting here right now under the sun on one of my balconies, chilling, feet out. A couple of flies may fly around, you know, as long as they don't start getting around my feet because I'm clean, right? But when I have stuff to do, I do it. And I'll do stuff on the go, keep things going. But I treat social media like a hot stove. Sometimes I get and do a show for like 3, 4 hours, 5 hours. I've been known to do shows that are real long, but it's not dominating. We get in the conversation, and I'm talking normal now. I didn't make this presentation and I'm going to teach the world stuff that they don't know and I'm no ambassador of all truth. No, I'm just a regular dude. We having a conversation. You see what I mean? You know, so let me see. Christopher Lee said, how many minutes do you get per month? You mean on social media? That's what you mean, Christopher? Like when I pay for it? Maybe there's something else that was said up. No, I didn't. Yeah. I didn't even look at the chat room. Yeah, flash mobs on. Yeah, you can't have flash mobs without the internet. Wow. You said turn on the video. Okay, I have a banner up. I'm outside on the balcony right now. I'm not in front of the computers. And I'm surely not prepared to show my face. Nothing wrong. I'm just in chill mode. You know what I mean? I always like to look in the mirror before I show my face. And I'm not really looking at the chat room because I just want to get these few points out before I leave out, because this is not going to be a long one. But anyway, we'll never be the same again. And like I said, with that dopamine hit, we don't realize we're addicted to that dopamine hit. And just like they had experiments with cocaine and different animals, monkeys, and they get that rush, they'll prefer that drug over food. You got some people here, and I don't mean here in the chat room, but we have some people who are so caught up in social media that they will forget to even eat. They'll be so caught up in, especially those who argue and seek the drama, because it always takes a left turn and ends up on a lower vibration. It's just like most people who know when they see two men fight. Two men who are not trained in fighting. Usually after about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, the fight ends up on the ground. And now they're rolling around on the ground. They're not standing up for 15 rounds like they're fighters. You see what I mean? It ends up on the ground. So when you have these people like that are getting down into the lower vibrations, what is it doing for them? I've witnessed this like so much, even up until recent. There are people that I know that are still caught up in arguments and the people that they had drama with from 5 and 10 years ago. That's sick. That's sick. You've allowed them to get into your mind so much. We have men who would love to have relationships. We have women who would love to have relationships, but they can't have regular relationships because they're so caught up in the cyber world. And there's something else out there that I'm missing. There's something better out there that I'm missing. I met this one young lady, and there must be one better than her. You met a man that you're dating and you're thinking about getting with, but there might be another one out there with more money or a longer dick. We're always looking. So while you're looking, other people are looking. So the world is almost like the day after Christmas when you're shopping after Christmas, right? I'm just using that as an example. Everything's picked over, but we Photoshop ourselves. We remove the pimples. We whiten up our teeth. We slim ourselves down. We have AI right now to make everybody look perfect. There are people who put artificial intelligence altered photos. I'm not mad. It's fun. I know that. But now they're living in in cyberspace in a way where now they are presenting a fake image. Teenage girls are affected mentally because they know that they cannot compete with these filtered images. And they know these images are filtered of their friends and stars that they follow. But there's pressure to look perfect, and nobody's perfect. That's the sick part. But we're all worried about the outside instead of developing ourselves on the inside, because I tell you, this life is not long. When you look at eternity and see how long that is in this brief little life, and we caught up in looking around at everything, why don't you go look around at the world? Go take a walk. Go take a trip if you can afford it to a different state, just a different part of the city. The price of bus fare if you don't have a car, a train ride. Bummer ride. I'm not doing anything today. Y'all are going shopping. Can I come with y'all? Get out of the normal routine that has been corralled and boxed you in. And more so, lots of us, when we go out into the outside world, we're still boxed in because we're thinking about social media and our connections to it and the anxiety that it brings. A lot of us don't feel good when we see things. There was a young lady who was received a brand new Range Rover. And I think her husband gave it to her. It was a quick little clip. And they were all standing around and they brought it outside and they had all of the nice colored ribbon on it and balloons on the inside. And she was going crazy. You know how many people are going to see that and feel bad about their lives? Because we're wired that way now more so. It's a cesspool of gossip. Now the nosy people in the world don't just have to be nosy, peeking under their Venetian blinds or peeping at the neighbor next door. Because some people like that. They'll just sit there and preoccupy themselves with what's going on in that neighborhood. For what? I can't stay around people like that. No way. But now it's been amplified because they can look into your house if you share that. You know, we have young girls now with the duck lips, and they get in the bathroom and they put one butt cheek up on the side of the sink, spread eagle, and push the breast out and do that thing with the duck lips. What is all that? Who told you that was sexy? And they don't even have the sense to pick up the dirty drawers that are on the floor in the bathroom behind them before they take that picture. This is so sick. How are you, George Harris? Yes, glad you're here. But this is the thing. Where is it going? The speed of thought. I remember there was a radio program that said faster than the speed of thought. And that made me think, my God, that's got to be faster than the speed of light. And we have that now. We can think things up. To me, I'm going to say this word. It's demonic now. Because when you have certain intentions in your heart, you can project it out to the world. You can either project it out to the world or you can hide them and project something else out. So the internet has been a place where it's the waters where we can fish demonically. Men looking for women to use, not even just for sex. Women looking to use their bodies and try to use it as a lure to get money out of men. I'm not saying everybody's like that. I'm just telling it like it is. And our young children begin to learn these ways, and their adolescence and pre-adolescent period is sucked away. So now they born their children, but at what point? See, we think like, okay, you get to be 14, 15, you start to notice things, and 17, 18, no way. Not anymore. Hopefully, it can be that way. But we have to be a watch over our kids hard and look for these signs. Because you know what? At what point today, really ask yourself, at what point today do children, I'm not going to say lose their innocence, but to be exposed to things that changes them, not only from what they know, but biochemically, a biochemically induced adolescence through social media and the things that they see that are very strong images that mess them up, that they're not ready for. Come on, y'all. We all know what them sex books look like from back in the day. We all know what the VHS porn looked like back in the day. We all know the first time we saw something on an adult level, and pretty much it wasn't 25 years old when we saw it, okay? Pretty much it wasn't 18 years old that we saw it. We find these things. We see these things. We stumble upon these things at young ages. And can you remember when you were captivated on what you saw? And at that point, I feel, this is my theory, I'm just saying it, things and chemicals flooded your brain naturally that weren't supposed to be released. And you can't go back from what you saw. So you see adults and you see them different. And then when the desires start to come from young that you're not emotionally and mentally able to deal with, you go toward that secretly because you want that, not because, you really want this, but you've been exposed to it too young. So it kicked in certain things too fast. Let's talk about that Thanksgiving dinner. Now, I'm not with the whole Thanksgiving thing, but I know that everybody knows about that. So if you're in America, when you make the Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm not a chef, but I got common sense. When you make that turkey, you start that turkey long before, usually the night before, day before, whatever. When you have your macaroni and cheese, you can make it long before and put it down, but it's nice to kind of time it when it's done fresh and it's still hot. You don't want to microwave that up. But then you have the salad, the tomatoes, the lettuce, the onions, the other things that you put, your preferences in a salad. Do you make the salad 2 days before? You could if you want, but it's going to be soggy. You wait to the last minute to make your salad because that doesn't require any preparation other than cutting the things up and putting it in place so it's fresh. So imagine a child's brain exposed to porn that's so readily available, and guess what? You got the share button. So it may not be your child, but they have a whole bit of schoolmates and friends and neighbors that maybe run across it and they say, oh, Billy, look at this. I found it. And you can share it. And you can share it with other people. You understand? So the minds are being messed up of our children, and we see them and they know how to act innocent, but they know the secret now. Can they ever go back? Haven't they been robbed now of their early years of innocence away from certain things so they can enjoy their childhood? Don't even mention the other things, the violent things, the things that we're preoccupied with, that even adults send and share to one another. Ain't that something? We can't handle it, so how the hell we think they can handle it? But the fear of missing out. So therefore, you're going to have feelings of inadequacy in your life with the overindulgence of social media. It's good to get on good programs. It's good to get on there and read good things. Perfect, beautiful, knock yourself out. But when you start to get pulled off of the path of seeking true knowledge, and you begin to get caught up in that rut of indulgence, of decadent stuff, and it dominates your mind, your brain is still biochemically being changed. Porn with the internet. Come on, y'all. I've done shows on that. I have a term, I say, yeah, these guys are all pornoed out. Meaning that's what they're looking for. Their minds are messed up. Then you have your hormones that are natural. You have your imagination that's natural, but it's hijacked now. Some girl walking down the street ain't paying you no mind, and you thinking, oh, her nipples are hard. She wants me. It might be a cold day. Nipples are not like erections. fellas. They contract, they poke out. But because your horny ass is seeing that or wants to see it as a sign of something happening, oh, she wants me. She didn't pay you no mind. Our minds are all pornoed out, blown out, messed up. You see a woman coming out of a cab and the skirt slides up, and you see how pretty and nice her legs are. Oh, she's showing me something. She's trying to throw me a hint. And they talk about PTSD. I'm gonna come up with a new term for porn, right? And other things that give us different rushes. You're an alcoholic and you see alcoholic ads pop up all the time because that's what you're checking out on the internet sometime. You want to find out the price of this and the price of that. I can get it cheap at this liquor store, that liquor store. So later on, they start showing you more stuff of what you're looking at. People are so protective of their phones. I'm not saying to snoop on nobody, be nosy, but could you imagine? You think you know your friend? You think you know your mate? Go on the computer and hit the history button and see what it is they're looking at. You can do that with me anytime. I'm always researching stuff for these shows. No problem. And I do go places of things where people send me. People send me all kind of stuff. I remember a couple years ago, I never saw it before, but this brother sent me this thing. He said, man, I'd like for you to talk about this. I said, well, what is it? Just want to let you know if anybody's around, do it in private. I said, do what in private? I'm not doing that. What you talking about? Well, I just want you to see this new type of porn they have. I said, new type of porn? How many different ways can people have sex? We're going to have somebody jumping out of a parachute with an erection and want to land on a woman, laying on her back or something. What are you showing me? And he showed me, gave me the link, opened it up. It was a computer-generated demon, had this woman bent over and hitting her from behind. And the demon's penis was so long that he had her in the doggy style position and the penis was coming out of her mouth. Now, you know that's not possible. That means it ripped up all her insides and the penis had spikes on it, but she wasn't bleeding. So what is this preparing our mind for? And we have artificial intelligence now that has sucked our souls out by watching and timing us and absorbing us. And now they can spit back stuff to us. We've given it that permission by what we share. And so really it makes you think about what social media really is. Let's just make up some wild stuff. Are there some entities out there that don't know about us as much? And they've collaborated with the leaders of the world and people like, what's the guy's name that made us Facebook, whatever, Zuckerberg. And they know something. They work with the government. We're going to give the people all of this for free. They can make free phone calls now. They can text. We don't need to write letters anymore. And we'll do this for 20 years before we break out with AI. We'll absorb everything about them. Just like you going to hang out with people you don't know. You're going to live with them for a year. You're going to find out stuff about them. You're going to learn their rhythms. You're going to see who doesn't like who in that family, what neighbors they don't like. You're going to find out everything about them. So they found out everything about us. And now they're going to spit it back to us and use what we gave them to hijack us. You have CERN looking for the God particle. And it tore up the barrier between this realm and the very pits of hell. I'm just spitting some thoughts out there. Now we have these disembodied entities now. We have more lust in the world. We have more crime in the world. We have more hate in the world. So these disembodied entities, we have these spirits now that are amped up and they take us over because we're indulging in these things. Not to get too adult, but I said that, yeah. I mean, Daniel, that I'm not gonna say, oh, that's just natural, but that is a natural feel, but everything natural has been hijacked and into overdrive. So it's not something wrong with you, it's something attached to you. I've always been like that from younger, and even I notice things. I'm an artist, I'm a visual person. I notice it. In the official unscripted podcast, I got your email. We need to do that. We're definitely gonna do that. Yeah, I got the email. I replied to you. But Like they say, and not to get religious, but they say, I think it's in Islam when they say Satan or the devil, whatever terminology they use, they meet you in a straight path. It could be lust. It could be an appetite. We like to eat. Some of us like to eat a whole lot more, and we're driven for other reasons. So we take the need to want to nourish ourselves, and it runs us down with it. The need to want to work hard and accomplish something. You have those people who are like, hey, listen, for the next 2 years, year and a half, I got to hit some overtime, some doubles, because I got to get this house. And you work hard so much that you don't have time to go to the doctor and realize you got a problem with your heart. You're sleeping up late, no sleep, bad nutrition, and you get the money up for the house and you die. And that money that you work so hard for to put you at the point of transition is the very thing you're going to use, your family's going to use to pay for your funeral. I think like that. But there's so many things that are out here that are hidden and unseen in the spirit realm. That's not always good. It's not always good. I'm beginning to see more with my spiritual eye the more I'm isolated. I can feel people. I can see things on them. I don't mean see like some demonic entity sitting on their shoulder, but I can feel their intent. And I already know how to avoid, even sometimes I've been so shrewd that I've even purposely caused an argument with these people that I know who have it out for me, just to get them, let them call me a prick, let them call me the bad guy, but I got you away from me. You see what I mean? So you can move smooth. And as much as I am on social media, and a lot of folks know me, I'm not out here for attention. As a matter of fact, I'm more into now not bringing attention to myself. And I was never into bringing attention to myself. But I never wanted to get caught up in that. But there's so much stuff out there about me. What do I do? Just shut it down and take it away? No. But now, I'd rather be unseen. I don't mean just not showing my face on the screen. No, I don't mean that. I will do that. But when people see me in the street, hey, Lancescurv, hey, man, how you doing? I'm out. I'll shake your hand. I'll take a selfie. We'll talk for a little bit. But I'm not trying to accrue this crowd or, just be out here on all these platforms, and I'm not really doing anything concrete, meaningful. Let's have meaningful discussion. Well, I can go ratchet, and we will do that every now and then for the laugh, because I'm a comedian. You all know that. But let's have something meaningful that we can think about that's thought-provoking afterward. You see what I mean? But this was not given to us for free for no reason at all. We have put our imprint into cyberspace. It's like somebody taking your fingerprint, somebody facial recognition, seeing all this stuff. They're hijacking us, and we don't really see at the end result what it's going to be. And see, when the enemy operates, they operate as far as several decades. Look how fast we got away from the time period of 911, which seems like yesterday. And that was 22 years ago. So fast. Our perception of time has been warped because we're in the social media so much. Lots of times looking at rehashed stuff from the past that we have no present because we haven't indulged in the present. So I say for these children that you think are innocently indulging in social media, but they're not outside playing ball. They're not outside talking to other teenagers or tweens or even younger kids their age to help develop social skills. The children these days, the teenagers these days overall, I'm not saying all because some have been raised properly. They have no social skills. They don't know how to greet you. They don't know how to respect you. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. May I ask you a question? When it comes time for them to be forced to deal in a social setting, even as much as going to a restaurant, maybe even a fast food restaurant, shouldn't be eating it, but I'm just saying, as an example, they get to where the person's going to take their order and they don't want to talk. They're just sitting there looking. Well, you got to open your mouth to say something. Well, you give me one of them. What the hell's wrong with you? But every crazy rap lyric that's out there, you know it. our focus is in the wrong place. And we need to at least question everything that goes into our mind, just the same way we question everything that goes into our bodies. You're not going to have somebody now come up to you, you're traveling, you're at the airport, and you're about to get your stuff checked in. So they're going to check, whatchamacallit. Oh, God, maybe this stuff is happening to me, right? But the ones who check you before you check your bags, go through everything, right? You're not going to have somebody say before you get there, right? Oh, I got this little bag, man. Can I put it in your luggage and I'll meet you on the other side? No, it might be a big thing of cocaine. It might be guns that are not registered. And you run your thing through the metal detector where they can see inside and you get busted for that. But yet and still we let anything in our mind. So if the thing didn't get there because we put it there, how are we going to control it? How are we going to control it? You can't control it. You let it in and it's going to just run crazy in your mind and really inflame these things. And like our brother was saying about the issue with lust, that is so hard. It's so hard to get over that. It doesn't mean you're not supposed to appreciate the beauty of a woman, but when it can drive you crazy. You see these shorts with these YouTube shorts, these chicks walk around, flapping their booties around, walking, whatever. I was scrolling last night, getting ready for the little discussion I had. And there was one that was like so perfectly built. I mean, she wasn't a spring chicken, but I was like, God, dog, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? Well, how you talking like that? You a married man. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you how it is. That's the problem with us. We don't admit to things. So how the hell are we going to heal it? I got mine under control. But back in the day, woo, lust. And I was very proficient in fostering lust in women. So that worked to my advantage. I wasn't a creep. I wasn't a predator, but the whole seduction thing, I tell you one thing right now, I'm glad that I did not come up into my adolescence with social media. No, I'm glad, because I was a bad boy. I was a bad boy. What? Let's not go there. Y'all heard some of the stories, and most of them are true. There's no way I could survive this. No. The way I was, and hormones, and horny all the time, and looking forward to it, I would have been in overdrive. And we can lie to ourselves. Well, I never did drugs and I never did liquor. And I could say, and that was my justification too. I'm living clean. There's just a couple girlfriends I have. But that can lead you to catching diseases. That can lead you to soul ties. That can lead you to so many different things. And you get that feeling. How long does an orgasm last when it's with a person you're not connected to? Let's just be real. And then you see the next one and you want the next one, and you're like a beast run wild. And that's how they get most of us men. That is straight up. Even when they try to act cool, that's how they get us. All you gotta do is see a titty half hanging out and you ready to roll. A sexualized titty. I've been to places here in the graphic type stuff, some old Jacques Cousteau type stuff. Like I'm not even near pavement or electricity or even a cell phone signal. And you have women walking around, they're nursing and they're just having to walk around like that. Oh, good evening, sir. How are you? And you wait a second. She just told me good evening and smiling at me and the titty's out. So many men would be confused. They're like, is she trying to hit on me or something? No, fool, that's the culture. You're the one messed up by media who has sexualized everything about a woman. Everything about a woman is so beautiful on so many levels, bringing life into this world, but you don't see that. And there is a time and place for righteous lust and pleasure. Yes, it is. But not the way the world is crazy now. Listen, I'm not going to cut this short. I'm going to come back with this again. This was going to be a short one because I was waiting for the notifications for the show that I was going to do. I'm going to get into that now and prep that up, but I see some things came in for me, so I'm going to deal with that right now. But we're going to talk about this again, probably tomorrow or something like that later on. Maybe I'll continue. Maybe I'll make it a different title but it's going to be a continuation of this particular show. And I like to do that too, because when you start talking about things, it's like everything else starts like coming to your mind. It's like, oh, damn, I can talk about this. I can talk about that, you know? But anyway, I'm gonna wrap it down, and I'm looking forward to speaking to all of you. And my brother here who wanted to get onto the show, yes, we'll talk. Let's work it out. We'll do it quick. And I'm glad that I came and dropped a few things on a stimulating level, but there's so much more that I got to talk about. I haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg. So just know that I love you all. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. If not, hey, thanks for being here, right? Anyway, Lancescurv out. On to the next one. Much love to you all. Peace.